Ooh, I could go for some bubbling popcorn right now, extra butter, some salt. You likely have a long 3-day weekend coming up, with tomorrow being New Year's Day, and it's the perfect time to relax and zone out in front of a movie. Joining us for Real Talk with his suggestions for movies to watch this New Year's weekend is the man of the hour, the Tower of Power, the cat who knows where it's at, Greg Russell.
Oh, I love the intros all the time, Jason. Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Thank you for being with us. Let's start with a movie in which New Year's plays a critical point. I'm referring to, of course, one of the great romantic comedies of all time, one of my all-time favorite movies, When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, yeah, for sure. From 1989. And like you said, this is the one that rebooted romantic comedies as far as it being put in theaters. You've got the two people. They first meet each other when they're driving across country. Then they run into each other again. They're kind of a little icy towards each other. Next thing you know, they become friends. Then after that, a little bit more. Then they break up. But it all comes together at the end when they both go to this New Year's Eve party. Or I should say Meg Ryan's character was already there. Billy Crystal realizes, I can't live without you, goes to the New Year's Eve party wearing his sneakers, and boom, the rest, as they always say, is movie history.
You know, and it's good for him, too, because, you know, he had a hit with Running Scared, co-starring with Gregory Hines. So he was believable in an action comedy, buddy, you know, cop movie. Now you come 3 years later, he does this, and then he goes on to do everything else, you know, City Slickers and all the rest of his. So it really launched him, you know, that span right there. But next up, a classic comedy by director John Landis. This was from his golden era, Trading Places.
That's right. You got Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd. The story about these two guys, Dan Aykroyd is this rich guy. Eddie Murphy is this guy who's down on his luck. Then these two brothers decide, let's do a bet. Let's just see if we change places or have these guys change places. Will they both adapt to their environment? So next thing you know, Dan Aykroyd is down on his luck. Eddie Murphy is this big executive. But then they find out about the trick. And so they join forces together to go up against the Duke brothers. And it all winds up coming to a head on New Year's Day at the stock exchange. And you already know the story, so you know it's like a 37-year spoiler alert if you don't, but they wind up winning at the end.
And don't forget, Jamie Lee Curtis is in Trading Places.
Yes.
You also picked a movie with Jack Lemmon that I think is from 1960, The Apartment.
That's right. Jack Lemmon is my all-time favorite actor. Stars him, Shirley MacLaine, and also Fred MacMurray. It's all about Jack is the single guy who has an apartment, but all the married guys who he works with want to use his apartment to have a party. And so he's constantly, you know, being shut out of his own place. Well, one time Shirley MacLaine winds up, who he was in love with, Miss Kuberlik, going to a party at his apartment and passing out. And so that's where they become friends, and they realize after a while that they are both meant for each other.
Now, is it a party, or I thought they were using it as a love pad kind of thing? Like,
yeah, that was kind of like the nice way of saying it, but yeah.
Okay. Finally, a perfect weekend to celebrate and remember Sean Connery. What's your choice here? I didn't remember this movie being tied to New Year's, but apparently it is.
Yeah, it's Entrapment from 1999, him and Catherine Zeta-Jones, where he is this high-end thief, and she works for an insurance company who's trying to catch him before he steals this Rembrandt. But then all of a sudden they devise this other scheme of possibly making $8 billion because he realizes she's an agent, but then she tells him, I'm just using that to be a better crook. And what it was going to be New Year's 1999. And remember how everybody thought as soon as it turned to 2000, all the computers and everything were just going to crash?
Yep.
And so that was their figuring. It's like at midnight, when everything kind of shuts down, we'll be able to go into these banks and take all this money. But it's kind of like Sean Connery, again, at his best. And it's just a nice action movie.
Yeah, kind of hard to believe that that movie is 20 years old or yeah, 21 years old. It's crazy. Greg, thanks for being with us. Have a happy New Year.
Thanks, Jason. Same to you and your family. All the best, and look forward to seeing you next year.
You as well.
All right.